the RUMERTIME process, and I came across this quote: "Behind every behavior is a belief."
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you maybe have
I was able to analyze a little bit more,
bringing about real positive.
In order
changes.
For me to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training,
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from
fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they see growth in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about RUMERTIME is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our lives.
A lot of my stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy.
I recommend this training to all age, from kindergarten.
Before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training.
I would recommend this to everyone.
Well, hello, good people. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So good to be here. Yes. So good to be here. We are so excited. And I know we say this every second and fourth Monday, but guess what? We stay in a state of excitement. Okay? That's where we live. That's where we live. So I am Dr. Yvonne Marie Laria, and I am so happy to be here this afternoon. We have amazing guests. I am in South Bend, Indiana, and the rest of the hosts and our guests will tell you who they are and where they're from.
Wonderful. So I'll go next. Welcome and hello again, everyone. I am Dr. Geneva Levy-Fleming, bringing you greetings today from a very stormy Monday in South Carolina. But I, too, am so excited to engage with our guests today. And for all of you I see that are signing on right now, thank you for being here. And we're looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome.
Vanessa, pass the mic to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kelly Brew, and I am excited to be here today. I am coming to you all from Elkhart, Indiana, the city with the heart. And Dr. G, I just wanted to say, when you were saying something about Rainy Monday, I was thinking, isn't there a song?
There is Stormy Monday.
Yeah, Stormy Monday.
Stormy, or Stormy, I don't know. But stormy, yes.
Yeah. But what we would like to do is have our guest introduce herself to you all today. And again, we are so excited to have her.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Shelisa Hyde-Pinnock, and I am coming from Broward County, Florida, the Sunshine State.
Yes. Welcome, Shelisa. And we see some people in the chat already. Loislin, good afternoon. We're happy to have you. And some people said, post it up. Hello, everyone. Hello, post it up. Hello. All right. So let's get started with, we see you, Shelisa.
Okay. Wonderful. So one of the things you all know that we do is we start our conversation with prayer before we get started with our conversation. And so here we go. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and for this Access RUMERTIME Conversations podcast. I thank you for allowing us to be chosen to be here because we are special and we matter to you. I pray that you will help us to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions that are helpful, kind, wise, uplifting, and courageous. I pray that all who watch and listen now and in the future would experience renewed minds, transformed lives, and they would be empowered to create safer communities wherever they are across the globe. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
All right.
And our mission statement, as I've just prayed, is to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer communities.
Yes.
Awesome.
And so, what we do is we provide social emotional wellness. And what is that? It is a person's ability to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on their thoughts, their interactions, their mindsets, and emotions as it relates to self, others, and situations. And as you do that, as you effectively utilize these skills, you become equipped and empowered to successfully navigate daily activities such as loving, learning, earning, relationship building, problem solving, and adapting to the demands of growth and development.
Awesome. And so the rumor time is an acronym. We made up the word because it's our business and we can do that. Okay. And so recognize is the first R. Then we have U for understand, M for manage, E for express. The second R is reflect on one's thoughts, which starts with a T. Interactions, I. M, mindsets, and E, emotions. Rumor Time's acronym is recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect. And so the definition now of the Rumor Time process. All right. So we just gave you what Rumor Time stands for, the acronym. The definition of the process is that it is a 5-step, culturally responsive, social emotional problem solving strategy that helps individuals move from a position of intra and interpersonal imbalance to intra and interpersonal balance, and from unconscious living to conscious living. All right. What we want to let you know that we have our mini courses. We have several mini courses for you to engage with. They are $10 an hour, and the courses are 2 hours, so that means it's $20. You would never get any other packed, amazing information, not just information, but application in 2 hours for only $20. I encourage you to enroll today. And while we're doing that, while you are enrolling right now, you can listen to what we're talking about, and it's going to help you. This month's March, the topic for March in the class, in the course, is bad attitude, how to fix the bad attitude. And I know many of us, the QR code is on the screen. Put your phone up next to it, and you can enroll and purchase the course now. And we will have this coming up throughout the 1 hour that we're here. But you can take these courses. We have several of them online, open and available, ready for you to engage with us in this way. I know people who have a bad attitude. And don't tell names, don't call names, but we know who that person is. So if you want to know how to help them, or if you maybe want to just give them a gift, you don't want to tell them they have a bad attitude, just enroll them in the class. Just pay for it for them. I think that would be a beautiful gift where you could help transform people's lives and renew their minds.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And the other thing I'd like to plug about those courses is that they are credentialed by the NBCC and NASW. That's the National Association of Social Workers and the National Board of Certified Counselors. So this is especially good for those who are in need of or wanting to build their continuing education units. So FYI.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Geneva. All right. Elizabeth Edwards, thank you for showing up and just supporting your girl, Shelisa.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So let's get this conversation going.
Let's get it
I am
going.
so glad, Shelisa, that you made time in your busy schedule as a school social worker, I can only imagine, what a typical day is like as a social worker in public schools these days. But share with us just a bit about how you first learned about the RUMERTIME process.
Well, first off, I just want to say it's an honor and privilege to be here and be a school social worker with Broward County Public Schools. So I heard about the RUMERTIME process because I'm in the Sparks region. I'm in Region 2, and the Sparks is an acronym for Specialized Professional Advancing Professional Resources, Knowledge, and Skills. And basically, this initiative was created to build the academic barriers and to increase academic success in our population. And it's a very diverse region in culture, enrich in culture, and able to provide more resources. And because of this region, I was invited to the GC Scored training. This is my first year as a school social worker with Broward County Public Schools, and I was able to sit in the first training in October. So yes, I was able to sit in the first 2 sessions and being able to be knowledgeable of the GC Score process and the RUMERTIME process.
Yes.
Awesome.
I remember meeting you back in October.
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale. Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to pass. Go ahead, Dr. Larry.
Let me interject and ask a question. Shelisa, what did you, in your bio, you said you worked somewhere else before you came. What did you do, and how, as you look back, how could you have incorporated the RUMERTIME process in that setting?
I was a case manager at a homeless shelter, and if I knew this before, I would have gone back and helped baby Shelisa out as a case manager for a homeless shelter for 4 years, and I worked on the male floor. So it's a shelter for youth from 13 to 21 years old. And when they come in, they're in crisis. So first, you need to ask what they need now. They need food, shelter, and clothing. And you can build upon that as you get to know them and build rapport with the youth of America. So I definitely wish I could go back and boost up my case management skills, not only to help them get on the right track to leave the shelter, but also to build the resilience and self-awareness for our youth.
Yeah, it would have been a perfect place to use it, but it's never too late. It's never too late because in South Bend here, one of our wellness champions, she uses the RUMERTIME process in the homeless shelter because she works there full time, but she also works with GC Scored as a wellness champion, and she uses it. Yeah, so we know it is across diverse settings. The RUMERTIME process is applicable, relatable, and is scalable as well. So thank you for that information. So Vanessa, I know you have a question for Shelisa.
Yeah, Shelisa, I am just wondering how this RUMERTIME process has impacted your work professionally and your life personally.
Yeah, so I can definitely talk about my personal, and then I'll go with my professional. So my personal life, I recently got married in June last year, June 18th, and
Congratulations.
Thank you. So this is our first time living together, and so definitely able to use this process and know that emotions are indicators, not a diagnosis. So definitely, if I'm feeling angry, I can definitely sit with myself and recognize that I'm angry and understand my own, have self-awareness and reflect, and then I can communicate it. Instead of having explosions of emotions at one time, I'm able to slow down. And actually, because I'm practicing that, he's also modeling that too. So it's able to help our communication and our relationship out as well. And as I model this in my personal life, it definitely affects my professional life because I carry over. I'm the same person, so I definitely carry this over and model it at work as well for my students, my parents, and the families that I work with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, can I ask just one more question while we're there? So I just wanted to know, you said that you've been able to use this in your personal life and as well as in your professional life with your work with your students. And so I guess the other question that I wanted to know in regards to your personal life is, have your family, have they noticed a difference in how you interact with them?
Yes, so that's a really good question. Yes, I'm also the oldest of two girls. I mean, two sisters. So I have two younger sisters, and I'm modeling this, and they're able to model it as well. So our communication has increased. I know when you're like sisters are built-in best friends, but when we're growing up, definitely they were not best friends when we're younger. But now that I'm able to model this and reflect and understand my own emotions, we can have more effective communication. So it definitely has increased my relationship with my sisters and my family members as well. Yeah.
Good. Wonderful.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good stuff.
So we talked about, Vanessa, you had a question about her, how this impacts her spiritual experience as well.
So this RUMERTIME process is triadic. It's what we call triadic. And so that means that there is a balance between the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so that is also what we are wondering is, just from a spiritual standpoint, how this RUMERTIME process has impacted you.
That's a really good question. Thank you for asking. So I believe in Jesus Christ. I am a Christian. I'm a believer. And so when I do my devotions or my, meditations in the morning, reading the word, it helps me because sometimes it gives me, how do I say, I'm not relying on myself for the answers. I'm relying on my creator for the answers to help me to manage my emotions and to help me with joy so I can go through my day excited and have joy throughout my day because I'm not relying on my own belief, but on the belief of my God.
Yeah. And that's a good thank you for that question, Vanessa, and thank you for answering it honestly, Shelisa, because the RUMERTIME process, the CSS framework, I've said to people, and if you join us in April on the 10th, where we're going to be featuring yours truly, in terms of, because that's our actual 10th anniversary
date.
We're going to be talking about, in that conversation, we're going to be talking about the birthing of the CSS framework and GC Score. And one of the things I tell people all the time, the CSS framework was downloaded to me and entrusted to me by the Holy Spirit.
Wow.
The extensiveness of this framework, my mother says, you're bright, but you're not that bright. So I know I am not in any way deluded that this came straight from the throne of God. And we don't beat people over the head with this. What we do is we incorporate people's lives into, they stick and see themselves. We talk about stories. We talk about, people's experiences. We don't diagnose people, right? Because we believe people have stories and seeds are planted. The soil is either nurtured or not. And out of that comes people's behaviors, people's experiences. And so we are in no position to judge anybody's story or label people's experiences. And so I say all that to say we're not a religion. We are spirit beings. We are all of us part of who we are is spirit. Right? We were created that way. And so we believe that in order to experience wholeness, we have to, in order to experience wellness, we have to look at individuals in every domain of their humanity. In every domain of their humanity. And the spiritual domain is as a part of our humanity.
Yeah.
And so we recognize that, and we acknowledge that, and we give God the praise and the glory for what he has entrusted to us. So we don't, when we do what we do, we don't take it lightly, because we're not doing it as unto ourselves. We are accountable to a higher power, which is God for us, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, and understanding, wanting people to understand all the different elements, all the different tenets of what CSCC, the GC scored, and the CSS framework is built on.
Yes.
Right.
Well, listen, if I can just ask, I'm, being a social worker myself, and as I mentioned, I can only imagine what a typical day might be like in your world. But tell us how you, and because you're somewhat new, it's been less than a year.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to hear just the impact that it's made in your life, both personally and professionally. But maybe share some information or story on how you have utilized the RUMERTIME process at school.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I have a couple stories. I can use one story in particular. A parent came in to speak to, she had a meeting for academics. So the admin was talking to her about the academics. However, the parent was expressing her feelings, expressing like what's going on. And the admin was continuing to steer the direction into academics only. And I was in the meeting, so I was like, I had to address it. I said, Mom, I will speak to you later regarding this. So I was able to sit with the parent, and we went through the whole process. And because of that, we were able to get resources. And now the student is coming to school every day, well, most days, and his academics is improving. So it stems from recognizing and understanding others' beliefs. Definitely from that, I've had cases where, teachers are expressing their frustration and with a student, and I'm like, have you spoken to this student regarding this behavior? And I was like, just ask them, let's do a check-in, do a emo meter check-in. And the teachers have gotten back to me like, oh, I found out this and this. I'm like, yeah, awesome. So just definitely building the relationship with not only the teachers and the parents, but also the teacher-student relationship as well. And I can communicate this to my colleagues as well. So it's building relationships overall.
It does. It really does. When you give people, I would say, dignity of valuing their story, and you do that by recognizing it, identifying it, and asking them, what's your story? You have just given that person visibility. You have just given that person humanity.
Yeah.
Because we get so caught up in our stuff on a day-to-day basis. Geneva likes to say she's on roller skates, right? She's so busy that she feels like she's always on roller skates. But most of us experience life like what she's talking, like what Geneva said. And so we don't get to be, people don't ask us in an intentional way, what's your story?
Yeah. Yeah.
They may say, how are you? And keep moving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And even that is on an unconscious kind of, in their way, they're thinking they're being respectful by asking how you're doing. But they're so beyond even the response that they really don't even listen to the response.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. You know, so people sort of operate on autopilot, sort of, you know, automatically, and give these automatic responses. But just a simple acknowledgement of how someone's feeling. I like how you shared that story, how administration was pressing one way and they really weren't hearing what the parent was saying, you know, in that first story you shared. But you recognized it. And so I want the world to know that's why we social workers are called change agents. A simple change like that made the difference in your communication, and thus your relationship with that parent and with the student has improved by acknowledging her emotion, her emotional state.
So again, you help the clients, you help the parent to recognize you, but before you did that, you recognized. Right? And so that's one of the features of the rumor time process, is that it starts with you. And we as an organization want to have as many yous engaged in the process as possible, so that it would reduce the amount of imbalance, intra and interpersonal imbalance, and the amount of unconscious living that we are doing as a globe, right? So that's important. So when we train you, as you're going through the training and the coaching, you are incorporating this in your life, and you are in essence impacting generations. Okay, I think people forget that sometimes, and sometimes I forget it. But what we're doing is we are transforming generations.
That's true.
And relationships in the future. You using this as a newlywed in your marriage, you are setting the template for how your marriage is going to function. And then when you guys have your children, it will become such a part of you already. It will be cemented in the fabric of that home. Your kids will learn way of being. They wouldn't know. It would be so normal. They wouldn't know until they maybe get in school and realize that's not how. What is that? That's communicating. No, you need the rule time process, right? So you start talking about needing the rule time process to their friends. So the responsibility and the work that we're doing is so critical to changing culture, to changing generations, to changing communities. And that's why our mission is to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer communities. That's how it's done.
What Dr. Larry shared reminds me of you had a question during the pre-show, Shelisa, about time, like when to start. You remember that question? Can you ask that question?
Wait, before you do that, the other story.
Okay.
Oh yes, I can share the other story about the student. The student came into the office and he wasn't crying, but he was visibly upset. He was breathing really heavily. And I sat on the floor. I got his elementary school, you know, I'm taller than the baby. So I sat on the floor to get on his level. And I'm like, do you need this? Do you need this? And it wasn't getting an answer because of how he was feeling. But I asked him, like, what emotion are you feeling? And he said, I'm hungry. No, that solved the issue. So I was like, okay, we can help you get some food at this time. We had some snacks, and that brought the state down. And so it's just so important to ask students, how are you feeling? Because instead of asking them different questions and highlighting that one emotion, so you can get the rest and understand what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
you could be there all day saying, "Is it this? Is it that? Is it this?" And they'll be like, "Nope, nope, nope, that's not the right one." But to ask that open-ended question,
And she's referring to, for those who are not aware, she's referring to the RUMERTIME emometer chart that we have in our store, and they have it in Broward County, in the Sparks program, that they use for anyone that comes into their office, right, where they do the check-in. How are you feeling? And we know that feelings have no intellect. They are directly impacted by our thoughts and our experiences, and that our thoughts influence what we feel. And we have over 6,000 thoughts, way over 6,000 thoughts. 80% are negative, 20% are positive. When you give individuals, it doesn't matter the age, when you give individuals that type of information, it empowers people. They feel seen, they feel understood, and then they could relate to you. And you can relate to them. You have just, again, built a bridge. You built a bridge. So going on to the question that Geneva had asked you earlier, I can't remember it.
Go ahead, Shelisa. You had a thought about age.
Yes. My question was, what age should we start teaching our students or our children this process?
Right. We have a saying, from 3 to 103 across the lifespan. And here's why I say that. We also have one of our quotes is, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships. They are like the air we breathe. As air is to life. As air is to life. We're not going to get into the whole, when the child is born, for our discussion, when the child is born, life, air, they're breathing. So when can they start learning? The same way that they are learning their parents' face, they're learning their parents' mood, they're learning that
vocal tone, language.
They're learning how they're feeling in terms of hungry, they're uncomfortable because they're wet. We need to start proliferating their environment, their soil, with emotional language. All right. So that they can start, as they're building a schema for the experiences that they're having, they could also be building, included in that, intentionally included in that, should be the words, the emotional language, right? And as they grow as they develop, then we add more information, but it should be an intentional addition to a newborn's experience, right? It should be intentional in terms of their environment. So, they have those little things that they hang from the crib. Around the room, having pictures or whatever of moods. When you're in a certain mood, you can say, "Oh, mommy feels da da da," or "Daddy feels." The repetition deepens impression, and you're building the vocabulary of your child. Because you don't want to wait till they start throwing temper tantrums. This could be a way to avert a lot of the temper tantrums if you build into their day-to-day life. The language, the emotional literacy that they need. Because we see adults who have temper tantrums. And one of the reasons that people have temper tantrums is because they don't have the language to adequately express themselves. So they get frustrated, and the next best thing to do is to, throw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Even though the tantrum may look different at different ages, we hopefully I don't see Vanessa falling down and falling out and kicking up her heels. But her temper tantrum may be, you know what, I'm done. I'm just done. That could be her temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Whereas a newborn, toddler, their temper tantrum is falling down and kicking up. But the root of it is not being understood, not having the language to express.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And as you were talking, I'm thinking about this African proverb that says, the ruin of a nation starts in the home of its people.
Wow.
And I can't help but think that perhaps it's that way, because in many, many countries, many nations, the focus is on reading, writing, and arithmetic, and very little or no attention to emotional literacy. So we know how to count numbers. We can say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but we cannot articulate something very fundamental is our feelings, and recognizing those feelings as it relates to thoughts. We don't even have we're just not knowledgeable in that at all. So we end up doing what Dr. Larry just said, having these tantrums and falling out or walking out or cursing out, or, we just,
calling names, bullying. All of these things are stemming from a person's inability to recognize and understand, and then eventually manage.
Exactly.
This is not rocket science why people behave the way they do, right? Because we have one of our quotes says, behind every behavior is a belief.
Absolutely.
So so go ahead.
Yeah, so Shelisa, the question that I have is, so you are using this rumor time process with your children to help provide this emotional language for them. And so I'm wondering, what are some of the changes that you are seeing in how they now are interacting with themselves first, and then with with others, like in the classrooms and with other classmates?
That's a really good question. I find that using the RUMERTIME process, they're able to manage conflict better. They're not calling each other. Like I have, for example, one of my schools, there's two girls, they're in 5th grade, and they came together. They're like, because they're friends, so they come to the group together, and they're like, we have a disagreement, and we just wanted you to hear. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes.
They were able to problem solve. I was so proud. I was like, wow, like you guys. They, instead of calling each other names, they said, I feel this when you do this. And it was just very eye-opening to see, and like, wow, like, it starts at elementary school. It starts in the homes. It starts now. We're cultivating the seeds, as he said. So definitely see a difference in how they communicate with each other. So definitely it's good.
That's good. I say kudos to that. Because prior to RUMERTIME and prior to your sharing this with them, that there's a way. There's a way to build relationship. There's a way to establish rapport. And you don't have to be button heads, and you don't have to duke it out on the playground. But they were wise enough to seek you out. They may not know how to do it, but they know who could help them.
Exactly.
So they actually brought you out. That's beautiful.
And they did it. They just needed that. It was empowering for them to ask, and it was really good to see.
Awesome.
And there is that transformation process that we were talking about, right? Transforming lives. So they are learning to do that now at this young age.
Exactly.
I definitely think, like, if we teach them at elementary when they're still young, and they will be better citizens of the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the goal.
Step by step, right?
Yeah.
Step by step, from elementary to middle, then to high school. So, I mean, if you're planting those seeds now, and those seeds continue to be cultivated, they're going to grow into mindful, conscious, living citizens, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Who are
it.
self-aware of their emotions and can vocalize it.
Yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
we'll have the skill set to manage. Right.
absolutely.
Because what we do it backwards. Right? We do it backwards. We quickly say, why did you do this? And then we don't necessarily wait for the answer. And then we say, okay, then do this to fix it, do this to fix it.
Yeah.
We
Dr. Larry,
haven't-
clarify what you mean by we. You said what we do.
what we, all of us, all, mental health professionals, humans in relationships, educators, administrators,
Okay.
all of us, right? Parents, all of us, we've been socialized to go to fix something before we know what it is and understand it, right? And so what we are trying, GC Scored, and I know there are many other organizations out there who are trying to steer that ship in the right way forward, right? In the correct direction by first and foremost, what is it I am dealing with? Recognizing my time, my thoughts, my interactions, my mindsets, emotions. Then educating, equipping, and empowering the person in front of us, the people around us, empowering them to do the same thing, to recognize and understand and manage and express and reflect on their thoughts, interactions, their mindsets and emotions, so that and the earlier you start, the more sustainable it would be in terms of when they're faced with, challenges,
situations. Yeah.
And they will be faced with it. If we taught, and we are teaching, if let's say every school had one wellness champion or a RUMERTIME prevention intervention specialist, do you understand how our world would change? It may not change as quickly as people would want it to change, but it will change, and that change will be sustained. Because this now is not just an add-on. This is a way of being. So
right. Right. Not it's not external.
no.
It's not external. It's not someone
Exactly.
telling you how to do, but learning how to be.
Yeah. So Sabrina wrote in the chat, that's a really good comment. Not only that, but other kids are influenced sometimes by each other. Exactly. So it would be powerful to have young people modeling this behavior. Exactly. Thank you, Sabrina. That's a great comment. And so the ripple effect, the ripple effect of this work cannot be measured in the way it should be or could be, because we can't even account for the people who are indirectly impacted. They may never say a word to you, Shelisa, but they are observing you. Right? They may never say a word to one of those two girls, but they are observing those two girls. So this is some powerful stuff. This is
I think of the phrase "each one teach one." And I know that was about like illiteracy, right? But this is also about emotional illiteracy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you are teaching them to express themselves emotionally,
Yeah.
right? And because you are teaching them exactly what Dr. Larrier and Dr. G is saying is that even if you don't teach, a student,
Yeah.
they are observing
Yeah.
how other students are interacting, and so they are learning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
By observing. So I do think about that each one teach one
Yeah.
phrase. Yeah.
And to model and teach, you have to be practicing it yourself in your own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yourself. So
Yeah. So that it could be, so that the transmission of it could be authentic.
yeah.
You know, you can't, you can't sell something if you haven't, if you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
You know.
So, Shelisa, what would you say to social workers across the globe? Like, first of all, is this RUMERTIME process for Broward County, Florida only?
Absolutely not. I think it's for everybody from 3 or younger to 103 years old, as you said. I think everybody and anybody can use this process and
Absolutely.
should use it.
Should use it.
Yes.
Should
Yeah.
use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
As we shared in the pre-show, we know little babies, they're not even taught, they're like between trying to walk and walking, but they can rap a song, that they have heard on the radio or on TV or something. So if they have the capacity to do that, they have the capacity for emotional literacy. They can gain that.
For sure. I was babysitting a 3-year-old, maybe 2 or 3, and he was so small. He was crying, and I wasn't really babysitting. It was just I just met the person. The person was by themselves. So I was like, oh, I'll help out, no problem, for a church event. And the baby was crying. So I was like, what's wrong? What's going on? He's like, I want water. So I was like, it'd be so helpful for everybody to talk to our kids and ask them what's wrong instead of just trying to shove iPads or shove something in their face just to just ask them what's going on. And he said, water. I'm like, wow, like that was just an eye-opening experience for me because he was so little. I honestly didn't even think. I just thought he was gonna say mommy or something, and I'm like, I'm not mommy.
She said water.
He said water. He wanted water, and I was like, it is outside. It's the hot sun, and it was just so. That was an eye-opening experience for me to say these kids are not too young.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so I just got a text here from Sabrina. It just happened. 3 children dead in shooting at Nashville Christian School, hospital said. Just happened.
Wow.
This is what we're talking about.
Wow.
Right?
This is, I have to, very timely. Thank you, Martha, for sharing. Martha says that with the presence of RUMERTIME, experts in schools and communities would have limited crises that occur among adolescents and even adults too. Absolutely. So, and that's the focus of this conversation, is recognizing, starting this process early on. So Shelisa spends her day in elementary schools, but we're recognizing that it can start even before the first grade. And you're absolutely right. The aim of this RUMERTIME process is to help renew their minds and bring about that transformation in their lives, so that ultimately we are creating safer communities, because our communities will be safer when we learn how to communicate, when we learn how to keep our emotions in check, when we learn that we don't have to pop a cap every time we get mad with somebody. When we learn how to express ourselves and to be able to turn away from violent actions and violent behaviors, but recognize that there's a more helpful way for us to get along, whether it's in schools or in the community, elementary school or high school or anywhere in between. There's a more helpful way. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, Martha. And the thing is, we see these school shootings, we see these things that are happening between K and 12. What we're seeing is the fruit.
Thank you.
Okay. And so what we as a society, especially the adults in the society, those who are making decisions, we tend to want to look at the fruits, i.e. the kids, right?
And the behavior.
And the behavior, and say, oh, the problem is in the school, so let's do the issue, fix the schools, fix the kids, and focus on, make them, as we call it in counseling, the identified patient. I would encourage our adults in our societies across the globe to do like Michael Jackson says. The man in the mirror.
That's right.
Because the kids were born into whatever we planted.
Yes.
Whatever we did with the soil, that's where the kids were born into. We as adults were born into that as well, right? At one point we were children, and we were born into whatever that environment is. So we can't necessarily put the onus on the children to fix the behaviors until and unless we do something with the soil and the environment.
Absolutely.
And with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying, people, somebody told me to tell you that, because we cannot keep thinking this is, people like to say, this is big debate across this country about social emotional education and learning is for kids. No, it's not. It is not. Social means interaction. It means working with people in we are social beings.
Yeah.
That's social. Emotional is we all have emotions. Okay. So when you put those two words together, people, it means how we interact socially and how our emotions can be helpful or harmful in how we interact with others. That is what social emotional learning and education, the foundation, right? That's what it is. What we need to do with that, and what we all have done with it, people who are in this field, is try to deconstruct, okay, what are some of the social skills you need to learn? And let's teach some emotional literacy skills, put them together, and let's help our students know how to effectively show up at home, in the school, in the community. That's what it is. Why are we fighting?
Did we lose our guest?
Yeah, she'll come back.
Yeah.
Why are we fighting against a basic human need that has deficits, and we are trying to build up, we are trying to augment people's social, or if you want to use the other word, relationship, emotional. Is that better, people? Is that better?
Oh gosh.
I'm like, people, the thing you said, 3 children dead in a Christian, okay, in a Christian school.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You don't want to teach about
dead, period, regardless of the type of school. That is just it's sad. dead,
No,
period, you know?
right, but one of the things too is that a lot of the Christians are fighting, they're the ones fighting against teaching relationship emotional wellness skills.
Yeah. And just so you know,
Okay.
I have my personal thoughts about that. You know, there are people that call themselves certain things, but they're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what the thing is that they
There you
label
go.
themselves. So
That's
there's
true.
no way that a person can be a Christian in the way and the lens through which I look at Christianity and do these heinous things. It doesn't happen. So, but if it is happening, then they are mislabeling themselves and misguided and deluded and all of those things. It is, truly, truly, truly unfortunate to hear or to read about something like that happening to our children. I'm thinking, and this might be crazy or a bit bold, but you know, when people go for prenatal care, that there should be a requirement for them to have roomertime
No,
education.
that's not crazy. That's on the real.
Cultivate the soil. The soil must be cultivated because you know you're sending the children in school, and then they get that piece in school, but they have to go right back to an environment that is not healthy.
Yeah,
not helpful.
exactly.
And the environment controls the situation. So I'm glad. I think you have her number. Maybe you can reach out to Shelisa, Dr. Laria. But thanks so much for sharing that. It's so vitally important. And while right now today we're focused on the utilization of the RUMERTIME process in schools.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And it's probably not even storming in Florida, right?
It's not.
It looks like the sun is shining there.
Yes, it is. I don't know. I guess
technology. It's just
technology.
That's what it does. It does what it does. Vanessa, you want to say something?
No, I just I wanted to invite our listeners to jump in. You know, if they have any questions or any comments about what has been shared today, to please feel free to share that in the chat.
Absolutely. And so I just wanted to reiterate that this emotional literacy is not just for children. It reminds me of that orange juice commercial, orange juice. It's not just for breakfast anymore. So emotional literacy is not limited to children. I think that's been one of the misnomers in our society. That, that's for kids. Well, no, you need it. If you think like that, you need it.
You need it.
Absolutely.
Parents need it. The big people need it. Grown-ups.
I think that's a way for people to shirk responsibility, right? Is to place it on someone else and to place it on the children, right? So it's not me as the grown-up or the parent that needs the work. It's the children, right? Because if they would just act right, if they would just do as they were told, then everything would be okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Shelisa, we'll read something else from the chat, but were there any parting words that you would like to share with us or the listening audience? I'll read what's in the chat. Loyson just posted. Thanks, Loyson. Once you are open to listen, RUMERTIME will impact how you see yourself and then your interactions with your students. Others will definitely improve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
for sharing that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I just wanted to say thank you so much for allowing me to be on the podcast to talk and, to share how the RUMERTIME process has helped me personally and professionally. I'm just so appreciative. I was nervous at first, but honestly, I just had fun with it. So I want to say thank you again. Thank you for people that listened and watched it and asked questions. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
you were such a natural.
Do you want to give a shout out to anybody in particular?
Well, I see Andrew asking my name my husband is watching. He texted me when I went out. So thank you for watching. My sisters may be watching. Abigail and Susanna, my mom may be watching. So I just want to say, and Miss Elizabeth, thank you for watching.
Very good. There you go. There you go.
You are such a natural, Shelisa. Such a natural. People speak from the heart. It's just what is.
Yeah.
And that's what makes conversation good conversation. So thank you for making time to share with us today. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
So much.
And keep rumorizing. Keep rumorizing. Because we are changing generations that we don't even know about yet. Okay, let's keep this going. And Catherine said, "Let us spread the word about Rumor Time." Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's a good note on which to end. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear from us next month. Is April 10th is our 10-year anniversary exactly on that day. And so we are going to be, coming back live and in charge.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Till next time. See you later.
April 10th, everybody.
Mark those calendars.
Yes. All right. This was.
I choose to only think of thoughts. I choose to only think kind thoughts. I choose to only think right thoughts. Rumor time reflects. When my mind is upset, I can change my mindset. Do not be thrown offset. Rumor time.
The Rumor Time process, and I came across this quote: behind every behavior is a belief.
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you may be having
I was able to analyze a little bit more.
Bringing about real positive
In order
changes.
for me to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training...
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from
fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they sincerely grew in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about Rumor Time is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our lives.
My stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy.
Come in this training to all age, from kindergarten.
Before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training. I would recommend this to everyone.